Welcome to this review of the information that was presented at the Patrick Square Owners Association on April 2nd, 2025. During the meeting, over 150 residents attended the meeting at the Patrick Square Inn in the town center. During the course of the meeting, we reviewed a number of items. The agenda for the meeting was the introduction of the board members, which included Jay Browder, Joyce Doss, David Barton, Chris Hodge, the representative from JMC, and myself, Mike Murphy. We presented a number of items to the community, including the resident manager's report, the transition update, committee structure and guidelines proposals, facilities update, as well as a financial update. Now, currently we are a developer-controlled owners association. JMC has the Class B votes, and until it is turned over and they relinquish those Class B votes, they have ultimate control over all activities within our community. We are working towards the resident-controlled owners association. When that is turned over, it will mean that JMC will have no financial control of or any other decision-making control over Patrick Square Owners Association. Now, the transition board, which was appointed by JMC, has been reviewing documents. We've been reviewing contact information regarding our current residents, reviewing and making sure that we have all of the meeting minutes. We reviewed the financial statements, the tax returns, insurance policies, contractors' contracts, warranties, the stormwater agreements, and the agreements with the city for the streets and the sidewalk. Now, we still have a lot of work to do before the transition is complete. And what you see on the screen are additional items that we need to obtain and review. The items include the as-built architectural and structural plans for the lake house and the pavilion. We need to make sure that we have complete copies of the site survey as well as all stormwater management site drawings, and also a list of all repairs and maintenance that have been done on both the lake house and the pavilion. Now, there are still things that need to be done on our end, and that means that we need to review our insurance policies to be certain that they will cover both the properties as well as those individuals on the board. We need to make sure that the occupancy permits are in line, making sure that we have the list of all the contractors who help build the buildings, as well as the employment services contract with Cedar Management. That's an important element as we go forward as well. But one of the key items is the turning over of the streets and the stormwater management. In terms of the streets, the areas that you see in the blue indicate those areas that have been turned over to the city. The areas in yellow, which include Tuttle, Cadet, and the street in front of the townhouses at the upper end of Thomas Green Boulevard across from Clemson Dentistry. It is anticipated that in the coming months, those items will be turned over to the city. No transition to the homeowner board can be completed until all of that is done. So we need to ensure that the deeds for the final phases of the streets and the sidewalks are completed, and the city has those. That means the streets, sidewalks, as well as all alleys will be turned over to the city, and it will be their responsibility to maintain those. There's also a process right now regarding the stormwater management system. That means all of the underground piping that is done in our community to ensure that it is functioning. Those areas need to be cleaned, and a survey has to be taken and again approved by the city. As we look to a homeowner board, I wanted to review some of the important information regarding the Board of Directors. The Board of Directors will control the activities and the actions taken on behalf of our community. The terms of the board are staggered, but the board members will be elected at the annual meeting. Now, at this point, we're not sure when that will be. It will be immediately after the turnover to the Homeowners Association. But the board has the authority to adopt, publish regulations and rules regarding any activity that takes place in terms of our common facilities, in terms of the common areas, as well as a variety of other things. The board also has the authority to impose fines for violations of the rules and regulations. So again, looking at the powers of the board, it's critical for folks to understand that this is found in our covenants and bylaws documents that are found online on patricksquare.com. If you have questions about those, please make sure that you reach out to one of the current board members. But again, the board also has the authority to delegate responsibilities and delegate some of its power to either subcommittees or to a managing company such as Cedar Management. That is the board's responsibility to do. Again, that is set forth in the covenants. The board also has a responsibility regarding committees, but the board right now has the primary responsibility of nominating, ensuring that the nominating committee, as seen in Section 3 of Article 5 of the bylaws, and the board also needs to appoint an architectural review committee and any such committees as the board deems necessary. And as we looked at the current committees that we have, we realized that there's very little that is written, so that we wanted to make sure that the board would have very specific guidelines to follow in terms of the committees in the future. The first committee will be the nominating committee, which will be appointed by the transition board. One member of that three-person committee will come from the transition board, and two members of the community will be asked to serve on that. Those two nominating committee members from the community will be selected by the transition board. The nominations will take place in writing prior to the meeting, but someone could nominate themselves or someone at the board meeting. In terms of the elections, again, they will be held at the annual meeting. That will take place every year. So there will be at least one or two board members appointed each year, or elected, not appointed. In such elections, the members must cast their vote for the vacancy, and the highest number of votes will be awarded the position on the board. Now, in terms of the number of the board members, there will be 5. There will be a president, a vice president, treasurer, secretary, and a general board member. And as you can see on the screen, the resident manager answers directly to the president of the board. Now, the selection of which members become the president, vice president, treasurer, and secretary are elected not by the general community, but by the board itself. Once the board members are elected, they will have a meeting and determine who will be the president, vice president, treasurer, secretary, and then the general board member. Now, one of the things that we've been looking at is the committees. The committees that we need to have, and some of them we already have. We have a nominating committee, a finance committee, an architectural review committee, which needs to be formed in the coming months, rules and regulations. We have a social committee with all of the subgroups under that. We have the garden committee and those subgroups, as well as the fitness committee and those subgroups. But one of the things that we realized is that there is no formal written documentation regarding what responsibilities those committees have. So we are currently drafting and have drafted some initial charters and guidelines. As you see on the screen, for instance, with the Budget and Finance Committee, we've outlined the purpose, the task responsibilities, as well as the composition. Now, what's important to remember is that with each committee, and on every document you'll see there, those committees, all committees, are in fact advisory. They cannot make decisions, engage in contracts of any type without the approval of the board. And for instance, again, you see on the nominating committee, there is also a section, a general section, and it also talks about the termination of a member of that committee. We feel that it's essential that the guidelines be established so that when the new board comes in, they will have a framework in which to operate. That new board will also have the ability to alter these if they so choose. But we felt that it's important to at least give the new board specific guidelines. Now, if you're interested in signing up for a committee, please, we encourage you to do that. Shannon will be sending out information in the coming weeks regarding submitting applications for committee membership. If our community is to thrive and grow, we must have community members willing to step up and serve on the various committees. If individuals do not step up, then the committees will in fact cease to exist with the exception of nominating, architectural review, and finance. Now, in terms of the facilities, the erosion at the lake, we have addressed that, and hopefully that will be fixed over the next 4 to 6 weeks. We're working with JMC and expecting them to provide the funds for that. The space considerations for the resident manager has been a topic. We have been using space at JMC's offices since Patrick Square was formed. We currently do not have enough space in the current office in which Shannon Jones operates to ensure that files can even be stored there, and only one chair is available for any kind of meeting. Now, we also talked about the finance update. The audit will begin April 16th. We do have an issue with the taxes on the pavilion. We are working with JMC to make sure that that gets paid in a timely fashion. And as you see, we also have a healthy reserve. I hope that this information will provide you with a foundation for understanding what took place at the meeting. If you do have any questions, please feel free to drop me a line. Again, my name is Mike Murphy. My information is available online. And you can also reach out to any one of the other board members, and we will be happy to try to answer any of your questions. I know there has been a concern from some members since the board meeting regarding the office space for Shannon. Again, I want to emphasize we are looking at options because we currently do not have adequate space. We need space to meet with vendors as well as to meet with residents. So we have to have at least a table, an area that will house a table for at least 4 to 5 individuals. The only area currently available in the lake house is the pool area where the pool table currently exists. If that office space is selected for the resident manager's office, we will have to put up a door and close that office. That also means that some activities that use the pool table as a serving table would have to make some adjustments. It also means that we would be purchasing additional tables and chairs to accommodate the activities that are held in that room, whether it's TOTS or any other activity where someone chooses to rent the facility. But again, we are looking at that as an option. The other option would be to utilize the Blue Room, the only heated and air-conditioned room at the pavilion. There are some severe issues with that regarding security. The only other option that we have is to rent space at the town center. That would mean a significant annual cost to the members of our community, to the tune of an additional at least $36,000 per year, and we would try to avoid that if at all possible by utilizing space that we currently have. Again, I appreciate your patience and your cooperation, and again, feel free to reach out to one of the board members if you have any questions. I appreciate it, and have a great day.